Good morning. Today we are talking about similar figures again. So we talked about how similar figures are formed by dilations, meaning all of the corresponding sides were dilated by the same amount. What we dilate one side by, we have to dilate all of the sides by. So it says if two figures are similar, then their corresponding sides, meaning the sides that match up, are proportional. And their corresponding angles are equal. Remember, we never change the size of an angle, just the sides. We use the symbol of the little squiggle to formally show that two figures are similar. In the previous problems, or in the future problems, triangle ABC is similar to triangle DEF. That's how we would read that. So we've got three main steps here. Step one being to identify the corresponding sides, match them up. And then step two, write a proportion, which is two fractions with an equal sign in the middle, using those corresponding sides. And then step three, solve our proportion. So we're going to be finding missing sides of figures based on their dilations. So it says, example 1, in the following diagram, triangle KLM is similar to triangle QRS. Find the length of side QS. So this is the side I'm trying to find. I have to figure out what QS lines up with, what it corresponds with. And you can either look at the shape or you can look at the letters. So QS is the first letter and the last letter in my similarity statement. So that means it goes with K and M, the same letters in the other triangle. And then I also need to match up another side that I know the lengths of. So I also know QR here is 12, and that is going to correspond QR, the first two letters, with KL. So now that I have two pairs of sides, I can write my proportion. So I'm going to start with my setup. I'm going to put the big triangle on top of the small triangle. You can do it either way. You could flip this the other way if you wanted to. I'm just writing that down so I make sure my work stays organized. It's really important to line up, keep your proportion lined up. So in the big triangle, I know that X corresponds with 5. That other side has a length of 5. So I'm going to set up my proportion as X over 5. Those are the sides that I highlighted in red. And then I'm going to do the other fraction in the same way. My big triangle, the side QR was 12, and my smaller triangle was 3. So here's my proportion. It's put an equal sign in the middle because that makes it a proportion, and because we know that scale factor has to be equal for both of them. So then from here, we're just going to solve our proportion. So we solve using cross multiplying or the butterfly method. X times 3 is 3x, and then 5 times 12 is 60. And then to solve this is 3 times x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 20. So it means the length of this side here is 20. Pause if you need to. In example 2, we've got two side lengths defined, so they tell us in the following diagram ABC is similar to triangle DEF. So I'm going to start by finding the side length DE. So here they labeled that with an X. And then that side, DE, the first two letters here, corresponds with AB. So those two line up. And then I have to find another side length that I know. Well, I know the bottoms of the triangle here. EF is 12, and EF goes with BC, so I can use that to write my proportion. So again, I'm going to put the big triangle on top and the small triangle on the bottom. For the big triangle, the sides I colored in blue. I have 9 over x. Put my equal sign, and then the sides that I colored in red, 18 over 12. So now I'm going to cross multiply. 18 times x is 18x. 9 times 12. Sorry if that hurt your ears, 108. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 18 to get my answer. And I get x equals 6. So this missing side is 6. And in the second part, they ask me to find the length of side DF, which is the side they labeled Y. And that goes with side AC. So again, I'm going to set up my proportion as the big triangle over the small triangle. So the big triangle, the side I'm looking for, it corresponds with 12. So 12 over y. And then I pick a side that I know both of. So again, the red side here, 18 over 12. And then once we have our proportion, just cross multiply. So 18 times y is 18y. 12 times 12 is 144. And then we divide by 18. And I get y equals 8. Pause here if you need to, otherwise flip to the back. On the back we've got example 3. It says quadrilateral KLMN is similar to quadrilateral OPQR. Find the measure of side PQ. So I'm going to look for that side. PQ is right here. Round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So step 1 is to identify my corresponding sides. So I'm thinking, what side goes with PQ? So PQ is the middle 2 letters. So it's going to go with L and M. That's this side here. And now I need to pick a pair of sides that I know. I've got NK here, which is the last letter and the first letter. And that is going to go with O and R. So that's this side here. So now that I have 2 pairs of sides, I can set up my proportion. So again, I'm going to do the bigger shape over the smaller shape. In my big shape, I've got 30, and that corresponds with the side we're looking for, so I'll call that X because I don't know how long it is yet. And then on the other side, the sides I highlighted in red, 59 and 13, but the bigger one on top, and then cross multiply. So 59 times x is 59x. And then 30 times 13 is 390. Then I divide by both sides. And I do get a decimal, which is fine. I actually took this question right from Delta Math. And your Delta Math says to round if necessary. So this says round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. I see 6.61. So the tenth is only 1 decimal. So I would round this to 6.6. Remember, if it's less than 5, you're just going to leave it. 1 is less than 5, so I'm going to leave this 6.6. Pause if you need to. All right, example 4. Example 4 says quadrilateral EFGH is similar to quadrilateral IJKL. Find the measure of side KL. Round your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So side KL, I'm going to find that first. KL is right here. And then I need to match up my sides. So KL, the last 2 letters, goes with GH. And now I need to find another pair of corresponding sides. So I've got 11, which is GF. So that's the middle 2 letters. So that would be with J and K. So now that I've got my 2 pairs of corresponding sides, I can set up my proportion. So again, I'm going to look at the big shape versus the small shape. My large shape, if I'm starting with the blue highlights, I do not know the length of side KL. I labeled that an X, and that corresponds with 15. Then on the other side, the sides that I do know. I know in my big shape I've got 45, and that corresponds with 11. So then we cross multiply on both sides. X times 11 is 11x. And then 45 times 15 is 675. And then I'm going to divide to get my answer. And I get x equals 61.36. And again, it says round your answer to the nearest tenth. Tenth is 1 position, so we look next door. The 6 is going to bump the 3 up to a 4. So x equals 61.4. Pause if you need to. Example 5, quadrilateral BCDE is similar to quadrilateral FGHI. Find the measure of GH. So here's the side I'm looking for, HG. That is going to correspond with CD. And then my other sides that I know, HI corresponds with DE. So now I'm going to set up my proportion. I'm going to do the bigger one over the smaller one. Again, it doesn't matter if you put the big shape on top or the small shape, as long as you do the same on both sides of your proportion. So I'm going to start with 39, which corresponds with the side I don't know. I'm going to label it an X. That's what I'm trying to find. And then on the other side, my big shape, I've got 55, and that corresponds with 18.9. From here, we cross multiply, 55x, and then 39 times 18.9 is 737.1. Divide to get my answer. Again, I get a decimal, and I'm going to round my answer to the nearest tenth. I get 13.40. The 0 is not going to bump up that 4, so just 13.4 as my final answer, rounded to the nearest tenth. All right, that's it today. Now you're going to go ahead and try some of these on your own on Delta Math. Remember, you do get decimals, round them to the nearest tenth unless it tells you to round differently. But decimals are okay. Decimals do not mean that your answer is wrong.